been a part of my life for over 1/3 of my life. And that's pretty impressive. I've been married to allcon almost as long as I've been married to Kathy. But 21 years ago, we were convention dealers in the Dallas area. And at the time, we had a little shop that was open on the weekends. And a friend of ours came and said, a small group of people are starting a new convention in Dallas. Would you be interested in it? And we're like, where do I sign? As that ensuing months passed in preparation, they're like, oh, we're going to have a little dealer room. We're not going to be about a dealer room, because at the time, that was the focus of conventions in this area. They were what I call a dealer room with a show attached. This is a show with a dealer room attached, and always has been. And that was what I grew up going to. I went to the Dallas Fantasy Fairs back in the day, and there was so much going on. You're like, I'm going to do this and this, but they're the same hour. How dare you? How did you not build this convention around me personally? But let me first introduce myself. I'm Cole Houston.
Woo!
On fixture. But we're not here to talk about me. We are here to talk about allcon. 21 years.
Yeah.
What I used to call the little show that could. Because we were invited to be dealers, and as we got closer, they're like, oh, the dealer room's exploded, you know, it's very tiny, we need to expand. The hotel is going to clear guest rooms, and for a little more than we were already paying for 3 tables, we could get our own room. We're like, we'll do that, we'll bring an inflado bed and have a free hotel room. It'll be the allcon Mall. Great idea. Allcon Mall goes away. People are backing out. This is a time in the early 2000s where brand new shows would pop up, taking a lot of cash, promoters would be in the wind. Dealers were very leery about a first-time show. My personal opinion is everybody has to start somewhere. Long story short, the night before we're setting up, it's you and one other dealer. We paced off halfway and figured out where our stuff was going to go. By the day before, it was us. We were it. Year 2, they offered us that same room for a little more than we would have paid for the space we were going to buy in the now bigger dealer room. And Catherine says, you know, let's get something back. Let's do a game show. Do a geek mask game. You get hosted. The hell you say? 20 years later, I'm group captain of Games in Theory, your game show track here at allcon. We're very proud to say we have sort of fallen into becoming one of the biggest attractions at allcon. And I applaud them for, you know, very much saying, they've given us our own room to be in all weekend long. It used to be we had to bounce around. And I'm proud of them for sticking to the concept of that we don't want this to turn into game show con. I don't want it to. God knows if one room is enough. But I also love the fact that we are a track that Catherine and I are department heads now. I've been mistaken for 20 years of being one of the allcon partners. I'm not. I've had enough aggravation in my life not to have to run the show on top of that. But I have, back in 2005, much earlier days of the internet, I was going anywhere I could find to promote the show. There people were coming and saying, look, everywhere we went to go and announce the show, you've already been there. Stop it. So, you know, little wonder I had that reputation. But in speaking to those 21 years now that we're entering into, who attended allcon 2005? over at the Sterling Hotel in Irvine. Who has been with allcon since, let's say, 10 years? Wonderful, that's what I love to see. Who is brand new to allcon this year? Let me tell you right now, you never know. No, you never know what's going to happen. You might be the only dealer at allcon 1 year. 20 years later, you're on stage. Many years ago, Todd, my good friend Todd, one of the allcon partners, asked if I would come help him with opening ceremonies. But because he's a tech guy, he got called up because they're having trouble with their credit card and stuff. So I'm like, okay, not a allcon. Maybe 8 or 9 years ago, my chronology is terrible. Every year I'd be like, oh, are we going to co-host? And eventually, am I going to host? And 1 year I was told, we're probably just not going to do an opening ceremony. I'm like, not on my watch. And I get a little choked up because allcon's kind of become my adopted baby. And I'm very proud to say that allcon is now old enough to drink. Damn, that's like,
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, that's top shelf there. But it has been an amazing journey, and for those of you who are new this year, new last year, you really, the more you embrace it, the more entrenched you're going to become. So we'll talk about that. And Walmart was out of my giant pads that.
Ooh, no measles.
So I had to get a little one. And this is more for me than anybody because I don't remember anything. Just because I wrote it doesn't mean I read it. So 21 years, 6 hotels later, we are here today. One amazing weekend. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much. Because people come to allcon, there is an allcon. That first year, we're over there setting up, and Sterling was a weird hotel. We haven't been to Sterling in almost 2 decades. We can say whatever we want. But you had this sort of grand double staircase you had to ascend to get to where the registration was for the show. This is great for him. It's terrible for me. And people would go up the grand escalier, arrive at the registration table. Where's the dealer room? Well, that's not really what we're about. Turn around and leave. Because in the Dallas area, that's all we knew for about a decade, because the kind of shows like this had gone away. They were replaced by tabletop shows, by autograph shows, by a dealer room with a show attached. And people had to reaccustom themselves to the idea of, if I'm going to pay, some of these shows is like, not to impugn anybody, but I'm not paying $50 to go shopping. And that's one of the main things I want to do. So, I'm kind of here to have a lot of fun. So, we're going to invite everybody to do just that. Have a lot of fun this weekend. There's so much to cover here that I need to get this. I don't normally run around with the old fitting jacket. I bought mainly just to wear over other things. So. This is my costume from Tragic Mike. So, we have a lot of great guests this year. This is one of the biggest lineups for allcon. I love the fact that allcon goes after, a lot of people are like, well, they don't have bad guests, but they've got really good guests. And unlike the big guest shows, again, not to impugn anybody, but the big guests are great, but a lot of times they're just, being shepherded from here to there. It becomes all about getting as many people through the autograph line as possible, going and doing photo ops and stuff. The guests at allcon are always the most approachable guests I've ever seen in any convention. I've been in this racket for, I've been in every capacity of conventions during the course of my life that you can be. I've been a volunteer, a presenter, a staff member. I've put on tabletop shows. I've done it all, and I love it all. But I love the fact that you have guests. In past years, some of their guests have been seen like 10:30 at night running up and down the hall chasing each other around. You don't see that at most conventions. And that's what's fun, is there is actually some interaction with you, the attendees and participants. And it's always made it a lot more fun for everybody. And I'm sure this year we'll see some more antics. But we have a lot of, if you like the Star Wars, if you're like me, and you like this in Star Wars, we have a ton of Star Wars guests this year. Christine Gailey, Bradley Gailey, Susanna Malik, Scott Stevenson, Mickey Lewis, Nick Patello. Apologies if I'm butchering any of these guys' names. This is all very hastily done. And we'll get to a lot of that. Dimitri Karas, Daniel Romero, I think again. Same Daniel Romero, turns out. And David Ackerman. And if you don't like the Star Wars, most, if not all of them, have been in a lot of other things. So there is truly a little bit of something here for everybody, from Doctor Who and various anime and what have you. We have some great anime guests. Greg Peters and Stephen Edley, also the classic Peanuts. Our guests, who were here a couple of years ago, they're just a lot of fun to get talk to. allcon and Duncan Watson were kids when they were cast as Charlie Brown and Lucy. And I didn't know that for many years. They had kids playing kids, which was a neat thing back then. And that's why they sound so good as kids, because they're, like in the case of Duncan, his voice hadn't changed. So. But they're a lot of fun to talk to, because that's a piece of Americana right there. And to have been involved in that. And how amazing must that have been to be a part of something that big. And then you're growing up like, oh, your God, it's Charlie Brown. And in a way I was, because I had a giant head as a child. I literally did. We have Mary Deese Hampton, who was Harold's mom, and Harold and Kumar escaped from Guantanamo Bay. Paul Cates Jr. has been a lot of anime and Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. So, when I was growing up, we called it cartoons. But do check out the guests. Go and visit them at their table. One of the things this night is you can go up to the tables of guests at allcon, and you're not shooed off because you're not spending money. Events, over 300 things to do at allcon every year. I'm usually in about 10% of them myself. That's how it happened. So several years ago, my wife Catherine was thinking, oh, this is Jedi Cole, or as she's known at allcon, where's Cole? She said, why don't we do something that'd be fun for, can I get one of the games of theory fun? It'd be fun for the attendees, because there's so much to do at allcon every year. How do you decide? How do you pick and choose? And sometimes you just can't do it. It's too mentally overwhelming. So we have, yet again this year, these are back at last, the official allcon decision makers. And you get to be the first people at allcon 2025 to lay your hands on a decision maker. And your decision maker comes, these are sort of sealed for your protection. But you get a die, a little six-sided die. You get a penny, and you get a compass. So you got some various ways. And everybody, if you're like a decision maker, raise your hand. If you don't want a decision maker, too bad, you're going to get one anyway. But among the many things you can choose to do this weekend. And I'll tell you one thing, we offered one to somebody who's on the allcon staff. I've actually got some for many years. And we've had people come and show us ones that they got 5 or 10 years ago. And the format's not changed really much at all, but the fact that people hang on to these silly things is just wonderful for us. Today only, actually, first off, I took the time to kind of break this down and compartmentalize it. We've got dances, which I don't do.
Not yet.
I never have. No, I was told that every time I dance, it hurts the nation. So I stay away from it whenever possible.
Yeah.
And, there's the Taylor Swift celebration dances today. Tomorrow, the Regency Era Ball. Saturday, the return of a Court of Dreams and Goblins celebration dance. So everybody gets this year a baby to toss around. Wonderful. In tribute to the late. Thursday only, so today only. You guys are lucky here because we're going to miss out. You got your lip sync. Lip sync roulette. I can't read my handwriting. I need to hire somebody else to write for me. And the Bunny Hut Social. Tomorrow, Star Wars Show and Tell with Jeffrey Carlton, the author of the Star Wars Secret Collector's Wish book, and probably rivaling me in the Herculean size of his own collection.
Amateurs.
Friday and Saturday, the midnight balloon drop. It's going to be even more fun this year. I'm not going to say more. Show up at midnight, and you will see what has been added this year. Because I have some inside information on that.
Free straight pins for the neck.
That's right. Oh yeah, in fact, I want to point out also, because I'm in charge of the game show track here. Catherine Lesser does our scheduling every year, which I just look over her shoulder every week. But that team that we have now, this is the culmination of 20 years of building, are so dedicated not only to the game show track but to allcon. They're like, oh, what can I do? Like, okay, we've got plenty of shows. Well, can I do another show? No. What else can I do? Can I help? Can I, carry Cole somewhere so he doesn't even have to walk? whatever it is. They are so dedicated that right now half the team are down in the game show room whittling balloon drop shivs. So people don't have to figure out how to pop their balloons. I really appreciate that. So be sure and drop by and get your shiv. We're actually, we got a wood burner so they can into the shiv. Good on that. Thank you. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we got the fencing and sword play instruction and cosplay photography. Saturday only, the costume catwalk and the cosplay contest. Competition. There's a competition, which is like a contest. You have Friday and Saturday the Starship Bridge Simulator. Stimulator last year, a lot of people got excited about that. Turns out it's just a simulation.
That's a different type of convention, Cole. That's a different type of convention.
Yeah, it's not that type of party. Let's face it.
After 9.
Sunday you got the land derby because apparently you can't say roller. I'm guessing roller derby must have been like the dancing waters. You can't copyright a term or something. All weekend long. Miniature golf course, the Inflaticade Midway Games, which I did not get a chance to go check out, so I'm anxious to see what that's going to be all about. You've got console gaming and tournaments, you've got escape room, you've got the craft corner, which is so cool. There's every hour, Angie back there runs that. Different fun crafts. Look at your the website to look at what all they've got or your schedule, hour by hour, fun stuff, including make your own shifts. So, we got the photo scavenger hunt going on all weekend, laser tag arena, arcade free play, which I went down and remembered why I didn't waste a lot of quarters on arcades, because even free, I'm losing money. I don't know how that happens. I got tabletop and board gaming, laser tag arena, in case I didn't mention that, Derby Day horse racing, which again, I just wrote that off the list. I haven't actually checked it out yet myself, but in all fairness, I'm keeping myself busy here. And of course, all weekend long, thanks to my amazing Games and Theory team, game shows.
Yeah!
We have not been hurting for content
Yeah.
in years. It's gotten to the point where I don't know how to act because I'm not producing half or 75% or 100% of the games. I'm like, I don't get to do 5 screen times, but I've done 5 screen times for a decade or more. How do I act? What do I do? But again, keep myself pretty busy. So this year I'm doing a lot of panels as well. I do love just talking about stuff that's of interest to me. And sometimes someone shows up. I've learned which minutes not to bother with. So you also have the vendor room. We've got panels and workshops. A lot of people bring so much allcon that isn't an entire track or an entire department, but it enriches it. It's the kind of convention I went to when I was a kid. And you go in there and the guy who was a very accomplished sculptor would show you how to use this paper mache material you add water to. And apparently the instructions tell you add too much water, I learned. And show you how to manipulate this stuff into something you might like to look at. Or how to, I've seen leather working and costume, as well as stuff about, how to break into voice acting or writing your way out of a hole as a writer or any number of other things. We've got the Taylor Swift celebration back again. I was awaiting the use of the room last year for maybe this or something, and it was just like, good night. I'm old people, I have no idea how big a thing this really was. The guest panel Q&A, I'll be moderating one of the panels, I believe on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, with some of the Star Wars guests, because apparently they heard I kind of like a little Star Wars stuff. But you got a ton of content all weekend long. Even this, Dean? Last year we were using our crappy little, these are some great new ones that are normally better. But I had Dean come up with a much bigger board and he had to be my easel. So this year, Dean, come here.
You've been upgraded.
You could have retired.
Yeah, don't worry, not an easel, but I wanted a little coffee table. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a lot going on this weekend.
We have a lot going on the stage, Cole.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame.
Seems like one of those cold stone therapy. I'm just going to move it around here a little bit.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, you can at least put a coaster on him, okay?
Yeah, come on, this is a nice shirt.
It's gonna stain his skin.
This feels like an art installation.
It's gonna leave a water spot on his skin.
Can somebody tell me what that was?
Paper.
It's just paper.
It's a coaster.
This is a good example of the next topic here is volunteerism. Normally it doesn't take this tough, but
Yeah.
later in the week indeed will also be my ottoman, so check that out. The volunteers truly do make allcon go round.
Yes.
Is anybody in here already a volunteer or has been in the past? Gee, I don't know, Angie. Maybe you're. Yeah! Angie runs the craft room. I kind of qualifies. But check out, go down. There's a volunteer table just outside the vendor room. Go down and speak to them about volunteers. They treat their volunteers incredibly at all. Not only are you earning your pass for next year by volunteering a number of hours that I'm not going to try to say I know off the top of my head, but they have a big volunteer party at the end of the weekend that is strictly for the volunteers. If I walked in the door myself, even as a department head, I would be kicked out. Like, you're not a volunteer, you're just a department head. Fair enough, I get that. I don't have people putting their scotch on my back, so I get it. So yeah, be sure and check that out because not only are you helping allcon, next thing you know, you're on a craft room. You're moderating panels for guests. You will have enriched your experience, or you become a fixture like me. And it becomes like, 100 years before the mast. And next thing you know, you're part of the Flying Dutchman yourself. Into that. Oh, and I mentioned game show.
Yeah.
I'm also, even despite what I said, the volunteers all got these really cool.
Nice.
That's some good vodka, too.
He's not kidding.
To be known. But I also, we have, I think a dozen or more producers now. Yes. And we all produce under our own banners. I have for years been in charge of Half-Ass Productions. This is Hap, my mascot. I just dropped his little habitat. But we have so many people producing. Our latest edition is in layman's terms. And I was approached by Doran about doing a game show. He knew full well we were full up. There is no room for anybody else. But if there's ever an opening, here's an idea I have. There's an opening. It was such a good idea. We will find you maybe the crappiest time slot, but we will find you as time slot. It was a brilliant show. Again, Doran's a great example. More than half of the Games in Theory team started out in our audiences. You hang around there long enough, we're like, trying to do that. You over here. And then next thing you know, you're spending the entire year a bunch of money and time and effort being a part of that. But we have more fun. We have 30 some odd hours of programming this year. 37 in a row. But the themes are all over the map too, and that's what's fun, is with that big a group, you get a diverse amount of themes. And we have, we're con mom and dad now. We are by a large number of decades the oldest people in Games in Theory. But, years ago somebody once said, we love your game shows, but there's a lot of old people questions. So we also have a wonderfully diverse mix. And we also have another of Catherine's creations is an allcon favorite. Both today and Sunday we have It is the game show where everyone is a contestant. Everywhere. So the entire audience become the contestants. And we have a lot of fun little cool prizes and we have a blast. And while you are there, if you come to any of our shows, which is in the Lantana 1, at the top of the ramp there, it's past the little cafe. The grand prize has been a tradition of Half-Ass Productions for about 16 to 18 years. Again, chronology is not my strong suit. If you would, excuse me.
It helps.
Much better. If you attend any of our shows, it's not,
18, just like
yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe 3 fingers. This is a whole fist, man. But if you attend any of our shows, we're not above bribing you to attend them. So if you show up, you sit through the whole show, you choke down our content, we will present you with a 2-part ticket. And the reason we give you both parts now is on Sunday, after we have a grand prize drawing. We got some great grand prizes. I keep finding stuff all year long, so it's gone from one grand prize to like, okay, you get this, this, or this. And we'll draw again. You get this or this. And we draw again. And then we have all kinds of other stuff that we didn't give away during the weekend. So there's like all kinds of opportunities to win cool stuff. And we give you both parts because on Sunday we take the other part and put it in the drawing. The first year we ever did a grand prize, and back then we only had like maybe a dozen shows all weekend. It took forever to find the winner because there were so many dead tickets in the bucket. The people who were there for, say, Friday, but not there on Sunday. So we learned the hard way. You keep both halves, give us half when you get there, and then we know you're there. Or at least reasonably so. It might be like, well, I just threw my ticket in and I gotta go. So, true thing. So, as yet, we have failed to ever be without someone winning on every ticket that has a winning draw. So this is this year's grand prize ticket. Also, if you come to any of my panels, the game show that's going on in your thing, and come to my various panels like Sunday Monkey Not Play Piano Song, which we're going to have a lot of fun with music, which I'm just, with music, it's like second only to dancing that I don't do. So you'll really enjoy my complete lack of knowledge there. We've got so many different topics. We've got Kaiju, Godzilla, Ultraman, etc. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Captain Comic is bringing back comic book trivia.
Who reads comics?
And I also have a comic book. The oldest living game show at allcon is Don't Lose Your Geek Card, which has been any topic can be plugged into it. So we have a classic one, a comic one, we've got a South Park one, Marvel movies. View Askew trivia, if you're familiar with Kevin Smith films, Clerks and Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob. We've got Star Wars. It's going to happen. Twilight Saga. There's actually a Twilight Saga game show this year.
20 years of Twilight. Woo!
Movies and TV shows, which one of the various games. And sci-fi spaceships, if you're very familiar with all of the different StarCraft of science fiction movies, television. This is your game show, and it's a very fun, clever game show. It's just a really cool. Oh yeah, we also have a girl power. And a lot of these game shows, you have the opportunity to win a 2026 Allcon Weekend Pass.
That's right.
Allcon generously gave us a big pile, and a lot of them have been distributed to our show producers. Some of them are hidden away in other prizes, so you may not even know you're getting it. It's like, guess what? When you chose to take this prize, you got something even cooler. And we also have some game shows that will have, thanks to the folks at Studio Movie, Catherine, we met a manager, and she's like, you know, we do these game shows and stuff. We get a couple of tickets and we give away as prizes. It was a bunch. So we made pairs of tickets. Because at first I'm like, oh, I'll give one to each of the show producers. Because you didn't realize that giving a prize of one ticket is kind of rude. I'd go to a movie by myself.
That's how I see most of my movies.
Here I got ahead of myself, so now you already know. Ooh, big reveal.
Me, myself, and I.
I don't know how I do it on time. Oh, we're great on time.
Just keep talking. Don't worry about time.
Yeah, we'll worry.
You don't have to worry about that.
There's nothing going on until what? 1 o'clock?
We're here for this. Keep shit.
It's not like you're.
Nothing is real.
Who's drunk? Oh.
I'm not wasting a drop.
No alcohol abuse here.
No, but there's no alcohol in this room.
No.
I had no problem at all.
No, I'm pretty good at it.
But we've got a lot of time, thankfully. So I do want to just open up the floor to folks. If anybody has, you're under no obligation. We're not going to. If you want to come up here, great. If you don't, no problem. I'm frankly, absolutely mortified to be on stage. I don't know how people do it. Hell, how did I get here? But if anybody in the audience who isn't games and theory,
Sit back down.
I want to give